Okay, so you're having a discussion, a debate, maybe a little heated debate about something, and you're minding your own beeswax, saying what you think, giving some advice or an opinion, and the next thing you know, you're given a,
Okay, boomer.
what is with that?
DanO'ConnorTraining.com.
For this channel, I'm communication skills expert Dan O'Connor, and I specialize in tactical communication. And what that is all about is the words, the exact words to help you more quickly and easily achieve your communication goal. Today's goal is responding to ageist epithets like, okay, boomer. So what I'm going to do today is give you a 5-step process. And for more step-by-step processes and danger phrases and power phrases just like this today, make sure to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell, especially if you have a question. Ask it in the discussion below and I will answer it in a video response like this. So to get notified of that, hit the notification bell. So that said, the way I would respond to that particular phrase, whether it's in a meme or it's in person, whether it's at work or at home, there's a 5-step process that I recommend going through when it's something like that, because this is a sensitive issue and it's getting more and more sensitive every day. So are you ready? Here it is. Number 1, give them a bottom line statement. Number 2, explain what they have just done. Number 3, give an example. Number 4, compare it to something. And number 5, give them a word of wisdom as you close. Let me go through each one of those before I give it all to you how I would say it, all right? Number 1, give them a bottom line statement. Remember that it is up to us to lay down the rules of communication. We have to tell other people how we expect them to communicate with us before we can give them a communication citation, for example. First, I have to let you know what the law is. And evidently, if somebody's speaking like that to us, we have not laid down the law. So number 1 is to give them a bottom line statement, which is going to give very clear, concise instructions as to how to communicate with me instead of the way you're communicating. So in this case, the bottom line statement that I use is going to be something along the lines of, don't ever say that to me again. And when you say that to somebody, whether it's in writing or whether it's in person, don't mince words. Don't ever say that to me again. It's very clear language that's hard to misunderstand. And it's not saying to somebody how they should or they should not communicate, what kind of words or what type of phrases they are allowed to or not allowed to use. What you're telling them is, don't say that to me again. So that's going to be my bottom line statement. I'm going to add more to that, but that's an example of a simple bottom line statement. The bottom line is, don't you use language like that with me. Okay. Number 2, explain what they have just done. I'm going to assume that you, just like me, have made a mistake. And just like me, the mistake you have made is one I have made. Maybe in a different form, but the same mistake, just in a different form. So I'm going to be kind to you and be compassionate and explain what you have just done. It might not feel like it's very kind and compassionate at the time, but it's going to be. That's what we should do, because that's how you're going to get it. Number 3. So I want to give that example about, hey, the situation in which we find ourselves right now, we've been there in the past. And I may give you an example of how we handled it poorly or how we've handled it well, but we want to bring people back and say, this is not the first time that this has happened. Let me give you an example of times like this that come up in life so that as these keep coming up, you will be able to reference back in time to other instances when this has happened. And you can judge whether the results you got were the ones you wanted or not. Like right now, do you think those are the results that you wanted? And then number 4, compare it to something. I want to give direct comparisons, again, to make this very clear. And I'm doing this as lovingly as I can. I want to be forceful. I want to be clear. I don't want to be angry because I'm assuming, again, that you're just making a mistake, but I need to be clear. And to be clear, I'm going to compare what you just did to some other things that you might be familiar with and that you know are not right. Now, I do not want to compare a phrase such as, okay, boomer, to some of the racial epithets that have been used these days, that we are familiar with, that all of us are familiar with, because the phrase okay, boomer has not been associated or linked with generations of suffering and death and marginalism and discrimination and things like that. There's an amount of suffering that has been attached to other types of words that make it incomparable. So I might compare it like this. When you say to me, okay, boomer, what that means is You just think that because of your generational identity, right? That's what you're saying to me. You're marginalizing my thoughts, my ideas, based on my generational identity. Would you say to a woman, you just think that because you're a woman? Would you? That is a comparison that is a reasonable, logical comparison. And you can tell, no, I wouldn't say any of those things if you're a thinking person. Then why would you say that? I'm going to spell it out and compare it like that. Again, the reason I'm doing this is I'm assuming you don't understand. And chances are they don't. So we're going to explain it like that. Before I give them a word of wisdom, that's number 5. My word of wisdom might be something like this. Sometimes we can't help but think certain things. You can always help but say them. That's my word of wisdom for you. You know, when we tell people, hey, you can't help but think lunatic thoughts, you can help but do lunatic things. So remember that as you go forth and conquer the world, all right? Okay, so remember that these are what are called freestyle scripts. And freestyle scripts are scripts that give you a general outline of what you want to say or what you want to do. And then you fill it in with words and phrases that really reflect your own personal style or your own personal situation. And for more scripts like this, in our store, we have lots of downloads and different courses that you can take. And you can either write me or Gene, either Dan or Gene at danoconnortraining.com. And we can help guide you to find the right resource for you. If you're a VIP pass holder, remember, you can just check it all out until you find the right fit for you. All right, so you say it like this. We're talking, we're having a conversation, and all of a sudden, Eamon, instead of, I'm just going to say this person's name is Eamon, instead of debating a fact, he decides to throw out an ageist epithet at me. Here's how I might address that. Eamon, don't ever say anything like that to me again. I'm going to assume, just a minute, because we're going to assume he's going to try to interrupt me. Just a minute, Eamon. I'm going to assume that mistake you just made, you're unaware of it. And although I'm not sure what role your generational identity or your age played in that, I would never attribute something like that to your age as you just did to me. And I'm going to tell you something else. As we have been getting to know one another throughout the years, do you think that as I've watched you say and do certain things, there may have been times where I've thought to myself that, yeah, what you're saying or what you're doing probably has been influenced by your generational identity? Do you think so? That'd be a fair statement, wouldn't you say? How many times have you heard me voice that? And you never will, because I'm aware of what a big mistake that is. Therefore, I'm trying to help you by letting you know what a big mistake you just made is. Just because one's gender identity, one's ethnic identity, one's sexual identity, one's generational identity plays a role in the way that they think and the way that they speak, which of course it will, does not give anyone license to disparage what they think or say, to belittle, marginalize, or discount or devalue what they have to say or what they think. That does not give anyone license to do that. And what you just said to me means you just think that because you're a baby boomer, right? When you say to me, okay, boomer, that's what that means. If you had been talking to a woman, would you say to a woman, you just think that because you're a woman? If you were talking to someone of Asian descent, would you say to them, you just think that because you're Asian? If you're talking to a black person, would you say you just think that because you're black? If you're talking to a gay person, would you just say, I think you just think that because you're gay? Would you? No, because you're aware of what a huge mistake that would be. This is just the same. And I'd like you to think about this. This is my closing thought. There will be many times in life where you can't help but think crazy thoughts, lunatic thoughts. You can always help what you say. You don't have to say and do lunatic things because you think them. And you might be well served working on the filter between what you're thinking and what you're saying that will serve you well in life. And this is all that needs to be said. This can stop right here. This does not need to go any further. Think about what I said. All right? That's where this should stop. There you go. Now, I think that's very clear. I compared the message. I gave him an example. I gave him a nice closing thought. Wasn't that a nice closing thought? And there's nothing left to be said. I said it all. That's how you deliver a message like that. Saying things like that has been deemed to contribute to a hostile work environment that is clearly age discrimination, that is clearly ageist language. So if you're talking about a workplace, you need to address that right away if somebody starts to say it, because if that catches on, even recently, Chief Justice Roberts questioned whether or not that one phrase constitutes age discrimination. Therefore, if it's used in the workplace and it's allowed to be used, that constitutes a hostile work environment. And wherever you're working could have a serious problem if things like that are allowed to take place. If it's in your family or if it's somebody that you love or somebody personal, it's the loving thing to do to set them straight and to let them know that, of course, our thoughts and what we say and the way we think is going to be influenced by many different factors, including our generational identity, our sexual identity, our gender identity, our racial identity. That's all going to influence the thoughts we think and the things that we say. That, however, should never be the basis for us to somehow demoralize somebody, belittle what they think, or marginalize them because of that. And letting somebody know that in a clear, direct way is not only good for you, but it's good for them. And that's the loving thing to do. And I hope wherever you find yourself and whoever you find yourself saying this to, I hope you love them. I hope that you're surrounded by people that you love. And I hope that they love you right back. And whatever you have to say to them, even if it's this, you can say it in a loving way. The people that are around you, they deserve that. And so do you. So if you need any help saying things like this or saying anything in a loving way, that's what I'm here for. Let me know. And also, if you want to find out how to say more things in a more loving way, check out my courses that are coming up at DanO'ConnorTraining.com this fall and winter session. You're going to love them. We're covering it all. And if you wanted to save a seat, get your VIP pass now, because that saves your seat and you get to lock it in at today's price, which is about to go up. So for everybody here at Dan O'Connor Training, make sure to stop by my website, check out the VIP pass. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do. Hit the notification bell, like and share this video, because I need the support. So please support this channel by liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. If you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments below. And for everybody here at Dan O'Connor Training, this is Dan O'Connor, signing off.